It's Thursday, June 18th, and this is the Morning Booster. Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome back for another Morning Booster. Before I actually crack it open today, I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about some of the articles that have come up recently about Core 2021 and my general thoughts about the new set coming out in a few weeks. As we get closer to the release of Core 2021, I've been enjoying the articles on the Wizards of the Coast website. Admittedly, as a collector, I have not been keeping up with the intricacies of Magic and have only really focused on collecting cards that catch my eye in the last few years. The release of Ikoria has changed that, as now I am more curious about the game and diving deeper into it. To that end, I've been gobbling up online content whenever possible. When it comes to recent articles, the one by Mark Rosewater titled "But Wait, There's Core" was a fantastic read. The first part of the article talks about his quest to get the creature-type dog added to the game. Learning that it took years for him to get that creature type added was fascinating to me, as I had previously assumed it was simply overlooked because adding dogs or cats into a game composed of demons, dragons, and angels just felt trivial. Instead, I discovered that this was an ongoing debate within R&D. Even more interesting was the discussion around how adding the creature type would impact the existing creature type hound. The fact that it took years for a simple change to be implemented is almost mind-blowing. It is also a reflection of typical corporate culture. Change takes time, but time also makes change more difficult. The article clearly indicates that this change wasn't an easy one, and only came about because someone championed it who wasn't burdened by its history. The other part of the article that got me excited about Core 2021 was the discussion around subtypes and the shrine cards. I have fond memories of the Champions of Kamigawa, and was surprised to read it was viewed as a low point in the game's history. Next thing people are going to tell me is that Fallen Empires did suck. Anyways, the creation of a new cycle of shrines that is reminiscent to those found in Champions is plain awesome. The original shrines all sported some cool art, and the shrine mechanic was one I enjoyed back in the old days. Looking at the new cards, the one I'm most excited about is Sanctum of All. Just looking at that card, I was instantly reminded of Kamigawa. It also doesn't hurt that it has a 5-color casting cost, as I like that sort of thing. While I'll save looking back on Kamigawa for a later video, I do enjoy the cards that reflect old sets. Modern Magic has amazing art and rules, but classic Magic still holds a special place for me. The development team looking back on those sets allow for them to create cards that tickle the nostalgia bug. Now if only I could get another round of slivers, as I feel it's time for them to return. Alright, enough rambling about Core 2021. I'm certain I'll be talking more about it in July as it becomes available for us to crack open on the Morning Booster. But with that said, let's get into today's Ikoria Booster. Alright, so for Thursday, June 18th, we're going to start off with Tentative Connection. So I have not read a lot of the stories associated with Ikoria. Say, unlike War of the Spark, where I read the novel, I don't know what the overall story arc of is for this set. So as I look at the images, I'm kind of starting to piece it together a little bit. And it looks like a lot of it has to do with a symbiosis, if you will, between the giant monsters, the kaiju, and the planeswalkers. At least that's the impression I'm getting from the artwork. I'll be curious to see, as I explore it a little bit further in the weeks ahead, if that's really the story or what are some of the underlying themes. But right now, that seems to be what the overall theme of Ikoria is. I don't know if it necessarily stands out as much. War of the Spark just comes to mind immediately, because it was involving planeswalkers from so many different planes. You had one of my favorite characters in Nicol Bolas showing up. There was just so much Magic history in that story, whereas this is all relatively new. So I'm not really feeling the connection as much in terms of the story, but I do find it interesting when I see cards like Tentative Connection, that it kind of starts to establish the visually the story of the set. So this is a pretty good card in that sense to me. I'm certain we've probably seen it before, but it's not coming fresh to mind at the moment. It is a common, but again, I really feel like it's kind of driving home the idea that this is a world where planeswalkers and the giant monsters kind of work in unison. Again, the mechanics say that as well, but I'm much more interested in the story through the visual art. All right, so our next card is, and I'm like feeling like this need not to mess up, so we're going to go like that. All right, so next up we have the Moss Coat Goric. We've seen him before, nothing new there. Okay, Startling Development, still one of my more favorite cards, purely because of the creepiness of it and just the way that the monster pops out. I think that is just awesome. All right, next up is Drannith Healer. We've seen this guy plenty of times before. Hampering Snare. Again, this is one of those where it's probably a useful card, but the artwork kind of diminishes this card for me. Again, no knock to this particular artist. He's far more talented than I am, but some of the art in this set I really don't like. Divine Arrow, on the other hand, is someone I do like, and I think it's pretty cool. But we've seen it before. Corpse Churn. I think this is the first time we've had this one on the morning booster, so I'm going to take a look at it real quick here. It's 1 black, 1 colorless. It's an instant. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So a pretty useful card. Reasonable casting cost. Art is interesting. I like the little dragon, blue dragon guy there on top of the skull with the wizard. So that is pretty cool. Definitely don't think I've seen this one before, though. It doesn't ring a bell. All right. There is Stitch in Magic. Again, I like this card just for the mischievous but aggressive nature of the creatures it's portrayed in the art. But I've talked about that one before lots of times. Heightened Reflexes. I gotta say, we've probably seen this before. But man, that is a good piece of art there, too. Very clear idea of what the monster looks like. It's a very dynamic image, so love it to death. But it is a common, so not really going to be worth much. I probably all have like 6 or 7. Blood Curdle, like I said, what takes away the card for me is the fact that the wolf has a ridiculous number of eyes. It just doesn't work for me. All right, so here we go. Now we're getting into the interesting stuff. Here is the Human Soldier token. Good to see it's not the one that I typically get, but a different one. I know I've got a couple of these as well, but not nearly at the same numbers as the other token that we seem to pull quite a bit. All right, so next up should be our land. All right, Basic Mountain. Beautiful Basic Mountain. I love the imagery of the crystals in the center of it. It's just a fantastic look to it. But with that said, what we really want to know is what's the next card. So here we go, boys and girls. For today's morning booster, we end up with Hunted Nightmare. All right, so this guy, 2 black, 1 colorless, creature Nightmare. He is a rare. He comes with Menace. When Hunted Nightmare enters the battlefield, target opponent puts a death touch counter on a creature they control. All right, artwork's not bad. Kind of cool looking. It is a rare, so that's always a good thing. But that's all I really can say about it. I don't have much other thoughts. Call of Death Dwellers. Now that's kind of a creepy picture. I like that one. This is an uncommon sorcery. Don't think we've seen this one before either. So return up to 2 target creature cards with a total converted mana cost of 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a death touch counter on either of them. Then put a menace counter on either of them. Okay, not bad. Pretty cool. Again, I like the kind of creepy monster teddy bear swamp look going there. Flame Spill. All right, so this is a red uncommon. Flame Spill deals 4 damage to target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. Wow. I haven't noticed that mechanic before. That is pretty cool. You know, back in the day, you'd drop a lightning bolt or a fireball, and you'd end up potentially wasting a couple points of damage because you really only needed to do 1 or 2, and you were doing 3 points. The fact that this carries over is pretty good. I don't know if for the casting costs that's great, but it doesn't seem too bad for one. But again, I'm purely looking at this as a casual collector. Artwork is fine, nothing exciting. It doesn't really stand out to me, but it is what it is. Hey, look at that. Now, granted, we've already gotten a Sprite Dragon, but it's always nice to get a second one of the cards I'm chasing after. So to see the Sprite Dragon as opposed to the Spirit Dragon, which I kept stupidly calling it in the first time we pulled it out, this guy is just an awesome little dragon card. I collect dragons out of all the Magic sets, so anytime I can get a dragon, I'm happy. But we got the Flying Hasting. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon. He's 1 red, 1 blue. Great art. Great card. I would definitely, if I was playing would use it. But overall, just happy to always see a card I'm chasing after to get a duplicate of it. So that is it for the pools for this one. Like I said, as you see and I said, we got a Hunted Nightmare as our rare. When we compare this against the goals I have for the Ikoria set, right now I'm still holding out at 5 out of 10 with a bonus Sprite Dragon as of today. When it comes to collecting the mythics, I'm at 2 out of the 15. And then finally, when it comes to getting a complete basic set of the cards, I stand at. So there you have it. That's your Thursday. I guess apparently it's Thor, not Thursday. Or why don't we just say Thursday? So there is your Thursday morning booster. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or feedback, leave them on down below. Otherwise, and as always, thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time.